Honor and respects, luz y progreso. This is your host, Sancista Brujo Luis. And today's video, I'm going to show you at least 26 ways, spiritual ways of how I use el Agua de Florida or Florida water. If you do not know what Agua de Florida is, what planet are you from, okay? I know I've done videos on Agua de Florida before, but I wanted a video there, not just talking about how I use it, but showing you through video footage of how we use Florida water in spirituality. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Also, if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Please leave those comments down below if you use Florida water in a different way than what I'm going to show you here today. Leave those comments. Press that like button. I really appreciate it. And share this channel with your friends or on your favorite social media or with those who may enjoy the video. So today is at least 26 different ways of how to use el Agua de Florida, Florida water. On Sancista Brujo Luis. So one question that I get a lot, a comment that I get a lot is, do I bless the Florida water? I believe that Florida water is already blessed, it's already consecrated, but what I do when I purchase a new Florida water is that I bring it to the altar and I make the sign of the cross and I place it in the altar. But one thing I also like to do with the Florida water is I open it up, and this I learned from a shaman from South America. I do this in front of my altar, or even when I'm cleansing a person, whether it's in front of the altar or it's in nature, I like to call on the spirits from the 4 directions. And so what I do is I face the east, and then I go from the east to the west, to the south, and to the north. Okay, and I'm saluting the 4 spirits of the cardinal points, the 4 archangels, Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, or any spirit that in your tradition you subscribe to those 4 corners. So what I do is I face the east and I place the Florida water like if I was going to drink it. I don't drink this, but I blow into it to make a whistling sound to attract those spirits to this place. Okay, so it takes a little practice. So as I said, I start off in the east, I go to the west, south, and north. I whistle and I call on the spirits. And this is when I bless it. So what I do is I place it to my mouth again, place it to my mouth. I make that puckering noise, or the puckering as if you're going to whistle, but you don't want to drink this, okay? And this is going to attract the spirits to El Agua Florida and to bless the Florida water and to bless the ceremony of the cleansing. So again, face the east and whistle or blow into it. And you do this to the south. And you do this, I'm sorry, so east, west, south, and then north. And that is how I cleanse my Florida water. So now I'm going to show you the 26 ways of how I use the Florida water. And I'm going to show you, first of all, I want to thank Gina for this beautiful gift, and you're going to see that I'm going to talk about a little bit about the history of Florida water and how I use it. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Please leave your comments down below. Sancista Brujo Luis, and please don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to leave those comments. Please don't forget to smash that bell button to receive notifications of when I place future videos out. All right, enjoy. So I got this box from Shaman's Market. I've never ordered in Shaman's Market. So I have my little trusted dagger. And I'm gonna open it up. Where's the crease? Right there. And hopefully it's what I'm expecting it to be. So this, when I open it, this is a little letter from someone that ordered it for me. Hey, thank you, Sancista, Joshua, Luisito, con mucho cariño, bendiciones, un abrazo, Gilma. And now the nerve-wracking popcorn section. All right, here's some Palo Santo, and here are the babies that I want to show you. There's one. There's 2. There's 3. And I think that's it. This is a big box. Oh no, there's another one. There's 4. Wow. I think this is more Palo Santo. Yep, Palo Santo. And I think that's it. Oh no, wow, another one. I think that's it. Yeah, that should be it. So you're probably thinking, oh great, another video on Agua Florida. But if you haven't carefully looked, I want to show you something. This is actually, and it's titled Agua de Florida. You can see it on the package right there. And it says Amarillo, New York, Peru. This is the one that is used in South America in shamanistic traditions. I want to show you the difference between Agua Florida in South America and Agua Florida, or Florida water, here in the United States or in the Americas. Okay, this is the one that you find here, Florida water. I don't want it to be blurry. Now I placed the Agua de Florida on the side, and this is the American. American brand has, what, 7.5 ounces. And Agua Florida de Peru, that looks like 9.5 ounces or so. If you notice, the lids are different. American has the black. The one from Peru is white. The imagery is pretty much almost the same. Almost the same. I want you to see it side by side. So American Florida water says Mary and Lanman, Florida water, Cologne, New York, and so on. And the one from Peru is Agua de Florida, Mary and Lanman, New York, Peru. Colors, pictures almost the same. The American is a darker colors, while the one from Peru is a little lighter. And that's not the only difference. If you turn the Florida water around, American is got this nice green tint that we all know, and the one from Peru has this beautiful golden yellow that distinguishes them. You can tell the difference by the color. Again, here's the American, that nice green, that lime green, and that lemon yellow that you will see in the Peruvian, the South American Florida water. Black lid and white lid. So how about the smells? Well, I'm going to try them out. I want to see how they smell. What's the difference? So one thing about the American, I've noticed that when you unscrew it, it's got that green lime color, and then of course that regular clear bluish and bottle, I guess. And then if you unscrew the Peruvian one, it's got that yellow, I don't know, that yellow plastic bottle. And here's the American one. And you can see the nozzles. American is much smaller, and the Peruvian is way bigger. You can see the difference in colors. How about the smell? Let's get into the smell. So to my surprise, they of course both smell of bergamot, neroli, lemon, cloves, cinnamon. You smell the lavender, the roses, and of course the oranges. But one thing about the American, you can smell a little bit more the alcohol contents, while in the Peruvian one, I'm sure it's got alcohol in it, but you don't smell it as much as you do in the American one. But they both smell like Florida water. This one, you can smell less the alcohol content. They both smell amazing. I love them both. This is the one that I'm used to, of course. This one smells really good. Like I said, you smell less the alcohol context in it. They smell amazing, both of them. So I'm going to give you a little pop quiz. Did you know that Florida water has been around since, I think, 1808? And I know that everyone is mimicking Florida water right now. You can find Florida water sold on Etsy, on eBay, but I will stick to the original. I like the original. I like the original formula. It's been around over 200 years. How did Florida water get its name? Well, I'm going to give you a little history on that. Florida water gets its name from the fable of Juan Ponce de Leon. Juan Ponce de Leon was the first appointed governor of Puerto Rico. Okay, he was told by the Taino. Actually, if you go to Puerto Rico, you will still see the foundation of his home. It's still there. I think his house burnt down. But anyways, he was told by the Taino Indians that in a far off land, there was a fountain of youth that could, of course, make you youthful. So he went to explore this land. This land became, he named it Florida. And sadly to say, he never made it back to Puerto Rico. He was killed on that exploration, or that exploration. But that is where, and of course, he never found La Fuente de Juventud. He never found that fabled fountain of youth. But that is where the name of Florida water comes from. The fable of Juan Ponce de Leon and the fountain of youth. La Fuente de Juventud. So shamans in South America will only use Agua Florida or Florida water that comes from Peru. They both smell pretty good. They both smell similar. It's a similar product, except that the American version has a little bit more of an alcohol smell, while the Peruvian one, or El Agua de Florida de Peru, doesn't have that as much of an alcohol aroma to it, but they are essentially they are the same perfume. I know that there are many companies that are making Florida water today, many people that are mimicking Florida water, a lot of witch products that are mimicking Florida water. I tend to stick to the original recipes. I like my Florida water. I like my 4711. I like my Galan Imperial. I will just not switch those. Those are the brands that I like, that my spirits like, that have worked for me. And so I will not change them, okay? But honestly, they both smell the same thing, the same way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, instead of just sitting here talking about it, the many ways that I use Agua Florida in my spiritual practices. And I'm also going to be showing you how to spiritually, with a simple hand technique, how to spiritually cleanse the body and the aura with Agua Florida or Florida. I always keep Florida water on my altar. And Agua Florida, it will always be iconically on the altar. I use it as an offering to the spirits, as a way to cleanse myself. After every prayer, after every meditation, I cleanse with Agua Florida. I also cleanse every item on the altar with Agua Florida. So Florida water is always on the altar. It's usually alongside a holy water. You ever come into contact with someone that's negative and you shake their hand and then you feel yucky afterwards? I like to use Florida water as a spiritual hand sanitizer. It's a spiritual hand sanitizer. So what I do is I take a few drops and I clean my hands with it, because I don't want to absorb any negative vibration from the person. You can do this with a person who's negative. If a person likes to absorb people's energy, a psychic vampire, use that just to refresh and cleanse, and to remove any negative vibration that you may have picked up from the person. So I use Florida water as a spiritual hand sanitizer. If you work with crystals or you receive a crystal as a gift, make sure you cleanse them, especially if you work with them. And it's simple, just place them in water. And I've got a few crystals here. Carefully place them in the water. So place them in water, any crystal that you may use, and add some drops of Florida water to cleanse them, to recharge them. Yeah, some Florida water to cleanse them, to recharge them, and to remove any negative vibration. And you can leave them on the altar for 1 to 3 nights. Within Espiritismo, the holy trinity of herbs are ruda, romero, y albahaca. To make a quick spiritual bath, you boil some water or you simmer some water, and you add that hot water to all 3 of these, let it cool down, and add some Florida water. That would be a quick, nice spiritual bath. And you can also use that to mop the floors, to clean around the house, to dust the house. So ruda, romero, y albahaca, the holy trinity of herbs within Espiritismo, and add some Agua Florida. So once a month, at least once a month, or at least 4 times a year, I like to cool down my protecciones, my collares. This is not preparing them at all whatsoever. This is cooling them down. My protecciones and my collares are prepared for me, to protect me. They get hot, you want to cool them down. So what I do is I add a fuente with ice. This is just regular ice, and I place my collares in the fuente like so. Let's see. Okay, so I put them like that. And if I have any bracelets, I do the same thing. And what I do is I fill the fuente or the glass with water. So I fill the glass or the fuente. Now it's got ice water. And what I do now is add Agua Florida to perfume them. And I leave it in there until the collares are nice and cleansed and until the ice melts. I try to do this at least once a month, but if not once a month, at least 4 times a year, usually during every season. And I leave them there until the ice melts. And that's how I cool down my collares, with ice, water, and Florida water. So usually I leave them there overnight or until the ice melts, and then they are nice and cooled down and refreshed. And you want your collares or your spiritual protections to be nice and cooled down. If you ever purchase semi-precious stones, you ever notice that people like to touch stones and all that? When I buy them, I like to cleanse them and purify them with just a little bit of Florida water, just to cleanse them, to remove any negative vibration. Same thing with lodestones, piedra de imán. And I like to perfume them down with Agua Florida, get them nice and perfumed. I do this all the time just to make sure that they're nice and perfumed and ready for, if I use them for my clients. This is La Piedra de Imán lodestone. So perfume down those lodestones. This one's nice and fed. If you can see that. Okay, so perfume them down with your Agua Florida, your Florida water. And when you buy crystals or semi-precious stones at a shop, a lot of people like to touch them. You want to remove all that vibration from them. Bring them home, place them in a bowl or a plate, and just sprinkle some Agua Florida just to cleanse them out. Whenever I travel, I like to have my assortments of bandanas. I like to have my handkerchiefs, and I like to have my spiritual cloths. And I like to spurge them down with Florida water. Okay, and then what I like to do is I like to place them in Ziploc bags so that I always have a moist towelette. It's not completely wet, but it's moist, and it has the Florida water aroma. And trust you me that I will bring one of these moist cloths in my back pocket because you ever travel on a plane and the person next to you is coughing and sneezing? I ain't got time for that mess. I ain't got time to get sick. So I will literally cover my mouth with that. I literally clean my chair with this, clean my eating tray with this. Maybe I'm prissy like that, but I ain't got time for that mess. So if you live in the West, here in the United States, I'm sure you have heard everyone mention sage bundles, palo santo, and sweetgrass. It is everywhere. But sometimes you can't burn this in a hotel room or an Airbnb. And this is where the power of el Agua Florida, okay, whether it is the Peruvian or the American, it does well. Now, if you saw one of my previous videos, I always mention I purchased these plastic bottles, okay, whenever I travel, and then I fill it up with Florida water, and I literally spray this Florida water everywhere in that hotel room. And if you remember those towelettes that I mentioned also, this is when this comes in handy. So whenever I'm in a hotel or an Airbnb, I spray my Florida water everywhere, and then I take out my towelette that's nice and moisted with Agua Florida. And yes, I do. I clean the headboards of my bed, because Lord knows what type of witchery has flown on those headboards. So yeah, I wipe down the headboards, I wipe down the door handles, whatever I can, and then I just dispose of that, okay? But that's where this also comes in handy. When cleaning down your altars and to refreshen the altar, wipe them down with a nice clean handkerchief and keep your altars nice and cleaned and refreshed. If you work with santos, Catholic saints, wipe them down periodically with a handkerchief with Agua Florida. They find it appeasing, and you keep them nice and cleaned and refreshed. If you honor your spirit guides, they also love to be cleaned down with Agua Florida. Free Christian deities and divinities also like to be cleaned down with Florida water periodically. Keep them nice and refreshed. Whenever you are spiritually cleansing the house, make sure to get the corners of every corner of the house, every door. Take this agua with Florida water y pa fuera. Make sure everything negative leaves the house. Pa fuera con toda la maldad. And make sure all these corners nice and clean and purified. Agua, mucha bendición. Make sure to get every door and all the entrances and water. So everything that's negative leaves the home. Afuera. Smells like good. Negative vibrations often get stuck in the corners of the house and the wall. So pay close attention to keeping these areas clean. There's a lot of negative vibrations get stuck in this area of the house, every corner of the house. So clean those corners of the house. If you use any magical or spiritual tools within your tradition or your religion, cleanse them down and keep them nice and cleaned with Agua Florida. You want to keep all your spiritual and magical or religious items nice and cleaned for your spirits. Now, in my tradition, I do spiritual baptisms, and sometimes I have done exorcisms, and I have robes that I use in my traditions. So I like to freshen them up, keep them nice and fresh, nice and clean always, but freshen them up with, of course, Agua de Florida, and keep them nice and refrescado. All of the spirits have their favorite cloths or favorite colors, and after every use, I wash them down by hand, and then I sprinkle them down to freshen them up with Agua Florida. We all like to carry lucky charms, lucky amulets, something to attract. These are our lucky coins or lucky rabbit's foots or whatever it may be. These are my lucky coins. This is my favorite. This is a copper coin, and one side is Hipólita. If you don't know who Hipólita is, Google her. And on the other side is Hercules. Okay, so I like to keep I have lucky coins, but I always tell people, take Agua Florida and periodically oil your charms, your mojo bags, your resguardos downs, your lucky rabbit's foot, your lucky talismans or coins, but also sprinkle them down with Agua Florida periodically to recharge them and bless them. On an eastern window or any window of the house, I'm just using this eastern window where the sun rises, to absorb negativity or like the evil eye or anything like that from neighbors. Get some alumbre, alum. Place it in a cup or a glass, like so. Add some water and a few drops of Florida water, and this will absorb any negativity. Now you want this water to completely evaporate. As the water evaporates, so will the negative vibrations and the evil eye. So that's water, alumbre, and Agua Florida. You could also add camphor. You could also add anil. If you have not seen those videos, check the description below. Now, if you're having a sesión espiritual or a velada or a misa espiritual, which in English are seances or spiritual gatherings, Florida water should be at the meeting table always. Florida water will cleanse all present of any negative energy and clear the area so that the mediums may receive positive messages from the world of spirit. Spirits of light and spirit guides love Florida water, while attachments and lower level entities find the aroma to be a little bit repugnant. Florida water will keep any attachments or lower level entities or energies from lingering within an area. So always keep Florida water, or it should be in the table when you are practicing Espiritismo. I always advise people who perform divination or readings for a living that whenever you are reading for clients, to make sure that after each and every reading to cleanse and purify yourself so that you cut the cord from the previous client that you're reading. Also, sometimes we have clients whom we absorb a lot of negative energy from, or they absorb our energy. So refreshing yourself up with Florida water after each and every reading. If you work a massage therapy, laying of hands, Reiki, I also advise people to use Florida water between each and every client. So after each and every reading, or laying of hands, I take some Florida water and I cleanse my hands, I cleanse the back of the neck, and I cleanse my third eye area with Florida water to cut the cord. This is not only just for reading, but when I do laying of hands or any santiguando, which is healing, spiritual healing, you want to cut that cord or that energy with that client. So use Agua Florida to do this. Now make it a habit of keeping a small glass of water with Florida water by the bedside. This will filter out negativity, and it's beneficial for combating nightmares or sleeplessness. This glass should be changed at least once a week, and pay attention for bubbles within the glass. We call those fluidos. Okay, that means that it is absorbing something as you sleep. Very protective. When you're seeking guidance from your spirit guides or ancestors, placing a glass of Florida water by the bed will clear the air of any static and interference to allow for a clear message or even prophetic dreams. Also, never leave candles unattended and keep an eye with pets and small children. If you wake up from a nightmare in the middle of the night, Florida water will help cleanse you and comfort you and get you back into sleep. Okay? When you're feeling a little off or unbalanced, restless, or as if something has attached itself towards you, rub yourself down with Florida water and spritz your clothing, pajamas, and bed linens, and spray around the room and in the four corners. This will untie energetic cords and keep stagnant energy or negativity away from you as you sleep. When my children were small and they were afraid of those things that bumped in the night, I would fill a bottle up with Florida water and holy water, and we would call this angel water or angelic water, in which they would to spray around the room to call on their angelic guides and spirit guides, which often kept the monsters from out of under the bed. Remember that when spraying Florida water, it is flammable. Do not spray near a lit candle. Never leave candles unattended or near small children. Now, where I live, there's a lot of Asian markets, and I'm very blessed to have a lot of Asian and ethnic markets around. I love these straw brooms, okay? And you can pick these up really affordable. I think these cost me like $6, and I'm constantly buying them. I like these brooms because I like to spray them down with Florida water, and this helps me get those hard to reach places where I can't, and also on top of bookshelves, on top of fans in the ceiling, and on top of the corners of the high corners where spider webs may spider webs. So anyways, what I do is I spray them down, and literally you can see your arm extends, and you can get those hard to reach places. So if you have Asian markets where you live, these work wonders, and you can spray them down with Florida water, and they make the house smell nice and good. Get those hard to reach places. Now, if you wear religious amulets or talismans or necklaces, here I have a silver or stainless steel rosary. If you wear those, I periodically try to cleanse them down with Florida water. So what I do is I place them into a glass of water, like so, because they do absorb negativity, and so you want to cleanse them of any negative vibration. So what I do is I put it into water, and I cleanse them with Florida water, just to purify it. Now, what you want to do is watch for any bubbles that forms. If you see bubbles forming in the water, that means it is picking up negative vibrations. I'm sure that I'm going to have people that practice various different religions or traditions or spiritualities. So when you are cleansing your religious jewelry or spiritual jewelry, make sure that you cleanse them separate. So if you use like a Catholic rosary, then don't cleanse it with your pentacles, or just keep those items separate and cleanse them in separate glasses, which is what I'm trying to say. So what you do is the same thing, is you put them, make sure they are of stainless steel or that they are not of a metal that will rust, okay? And just like the rosary, I put my amulet, my magical or spiritual jewelry into the water, and I place Florida water on top, and I leave it there to cleanse and purify. Now, if you purchase a medal or a talisman at a store where a lot of people may have touched it or picked it up, you know, same thing, before I wear them, I like to cleanse them with the same method, with Florida water and holy water. Here is a cross of Saint Benedict, and what I do is I just place them into the water and I leave them there until just maybe a night, usually on the night of the full moon, or any night will do fine, just so that it absorbs any negative vibration. On top of a refrigerator in my house, I always have a fuente of cool water. You can see the water is nice and clear, and I keep this on top of the refrigerator and I change it once a week. This helps to absorb negative vibrations from within the house. I want the water to be as clear as possible. When I see that the water starts changing, I try to change the water once a week, and if I do see that the water turns murky or gray during that week, then I do change it. I never add Florida water to this fuente, because the Florida water will make the water turn murky. So I want this water to be as clear as possible. But I do always have Florida water nearby to cleanse as well. You can use this also in office places or in places where there's a lot of competition or negative vibration. Keep a bowl of water. If anyone asks you what it is, just say you practice Feng Shui, and you just want to, you know, flow the energy of chi flowing perfectly. And if you want to hide it, you can add crystals. You could add semi-precious stones, or you can even add marbles. But you want to make sure you change that water once a week. You do not want the water. You don't want the water to be gray or stagnant. You want that water to be nice and clear. Whenever I clean the house, and I mop the house, I like to add Florida water to my mopping water, or even after I mop the floor. You know, I want to give the house a nice fragrance, so I could add Fabuloso, a mixture of water, Fabuloso, and Florida water, or just Florida water. I add it to my water, and what I do is I mop the floor. This gives the house it gives that house that extra cleansing, and makes the house smell nice and good. So add drops of Florida water into your mopping water and into your daily cleaning routine. So I like to start my day in a quiet state, in a peaceful state. You start the day the way you want to end your day, in a peaceful state. I like to meditate. Not everyone likes to meditate. If you go to the gym, if you take your morning jog, I like to relax, remove the cobwebs from my dreams, focus on my dreams. Then I take my dogs out for a walk. But if you go to the gym, if you do a morning exercise or a morning routine, have Florida water. Incorporate Florida water into your morning routine to start off your day fresh and cleansed. It will purify you, and it will get you ready for the rest of the day. So incorporate Florida water into your morning routine. So I'm going to show you a simple technique of how to cleanse the aura and the body with Agua de Florida. We do this a lot in Espiritismo when we go in front of the altar or the Mesa Blanca. But you can do this every day to cleanse the aura, the auric field, or the spiritual body. Take a little bit of Florida water. Okay. put that down right here. Now what you do is you rub it into your hands just a little bit lightly. Bring it into your nose and smell it. And then you pass it above your head. And then down. So you make a cross. And you shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off. Then you come to the side or to the back. Shake it off. And just shake it all off. And this is a simple technique on how to cleanse with Agua de Florida or Florida water in Espiritismo. So I'll show you the routine real quick. And that is how we cleanse with Agua de Florida. So also, you can use the flowers that are in the altar before they start going bad. You can use them in baths, or you can use them to cleanse the auric field around the body. So here I have my Florida water, and here I have some flowers. And what I like to do is I like to splurge them down with a little bit of Florida water. There's a song in el Espiritismo that goes, "Qué bonitos son las flores, qué bonito está el altar, pero más bonito es lo corriente espiritual." So you take half and half, and then, of course, you want to smell them. You want to make a crossroads and around your body, and this will make a mess. And then just cleanse with the flowers of the altar. This, of course, will make a mess, but it will pick up. Make sure there's no candles lit. And you cleanse yourself down with the flores. Flores, flores, qué bonitas son las flores, qué bonito está el altar, pero más bonito es lo corriente espiritual. Flores, flores, azucenas traigo yo. You can sing and just cleanse and purify. After that, whatever's left, you can make a bath with, okay? You're going to have a mess, so you're going to have to clean up afterwards. But the flowers will pick up any negative vibrations from the body. So pick up that mess and use the rest in any spiritual bath that you may have. You see that? So it will make a mess. I want you to know that, okay? Pick up all that the flowers have picked up from you.